I'm Gavin Simon, and welcome to Perthshire Online TV. Well, we're starting the show today from based on the lovely Willow's Coffee Shop in St John's Square, and as you can see, we've got the iconic St John's Kirk here in the background, which has actually had quite a lot of renovation work done to it over the past 12 months, but as I say, quite an iconic building here in the city centre of Perth. And yes, on this side we have the very well spoken about at this point in time City Hall, which, as some of you may have noticed, has some banners up with regards business development opportunities and what's happening with that building moving forward. But we've still got St John's Kirk here in the background. So the show this week, well, we are trying to get out and about as much as we can, and congratulations to the Famous Grouse experience and the Famous Grouse Whisky, the local whisky, or one of the local whisky firms, should I say. We caught up with them at the Famous Grouse experience up just outside Crieff on Sunday, because we've actually got a Guinness World Record here in Perth. The Famous Grouse have taken away the Guinness World Record from Jack Daniels, based over New York, to actually have the largest bottle of whisky in the world, and I believe that's something like, if I get this right, about 228 litres. So it was quite a festive day. The Guinness World Records were there as well, so we caught up with them. We also like to get our local politicians into the studio every now and then, probably every quarter we try to catch up with them, and we caught up recently with our local MSP Murdo Fraser, and we chatted through some local hot topics and some more national agenda subjects as well. I'm joined by Tracy McCafferty. Tracy's from the Famous Grouse experience up here. Are you the manager of the
general manager? Yes.
Well, listen, this is a really exceptional day, isn't
it?
A Guinness World Record here in the Grouse experience.
It's absolutely amazing. Well, it being the 10th anniversary of the Famous Grouse experience, we wanted to do something special to mark the occasion. Yeah. So we thought, what can we do that's exceptional? So we kind of stepped up on the idea, if you like, about 12 months ago, and we thought, you know what, let's do something huge. And that's when we took on the challenge to create the world's largest bottle of whisky.
Fantastic. And who's got it? Who had it?
Who had it?
5 minutes ago?
Jack Daniels had the world record. They had it. It contains 184 litres.
Right.
So we were aiming for 200 litres, and we've actually managed 228 litres. So we've not just broke it, we've smashed it.
Fantastic. Tracy, listen, well done.
Thank you very much.
Great for the Famous Grouse.
Brilliant. Thank you very much indeed.
We've got Jack Brockbank with us. Jack's come all the way up from down south, I think, is it?
From London, yes.
From London.
Right. Yep.
And Jack is the representative of the Guinness World Record. So, Jack, how have you enjoyed the event at Famous Grouse here today?
It's been fantastic. My job here today has been to officially witness on behalf of Guinness World Records this attempt to create the largest bottle of whisky. I can now confirm that the Famous Grouse have done incredibly well. The previous record was 184 litres and was held by Jack Daniels in New York. They managed a staggering 228 litres here today, and so it is officially a new Guinness World Records title.
And to be honest about it, when you think about it, the largest whisky bottle should be under the ownership of a Scotch whisky company.
Well, I know that was their intention, to bring the Guinness World Records title back to Scotland. So they've been hugely successful in doing that. I can also confirm. I don't know if you've seen it already, but it's an exact replica of a Famous Grouse bottle in every way. So congratulations to the Famous Grouse, and congratulations on the new Guinness World Records title for Scotland.
Maybe a couple of tipples yourself this evening of the well-known.
I'll see once my work's done. I'll see how it goes.
Jack, thanks a lot for your time.
Thank you very much.
Well, I'm delighted today in the studio that we're joined by Murdo Fraser, who's our Conservative MSP. Murdo, welcome to Perthshire Online.
Thanks for inviting me back.
It's nice to see you back. I think we met probably the tail end of last year, and there's been quite a few things happened in and around Perthshire since then. First of all, big year for us. City status regained, Queen's visit, and Great Diamond Jubilee weekend. There's been quite a lot of feedback from it being such a successful event. Of course, it was a very good day as well, but such a successful event that people are maybe thinking, should we make it an annual event? What's your thought process on it?
I thought it was a great weekend over Diamond Jubilee. Perth is one of the few places in Scotland where the civic authorities actually made the effort to put some programme together. And, we were out with the family on the Saturday at the North Inch. The place was absolutely buzzing with folk. Folk had come from all different parts of Scotland and further afield to see the 1,000 Pipers and take part in the kilt run and see all the other events and the bands who were playing. And I certainly think it's something that should be looked at. Now we've got city status in Perth, we need more events, I think, to help put Perth on the map. The council, I think, are doing an economic study looking at what the impact of the weekend was on the retailers.
Because feedback was that it was great in town as well. For all the cafes and the restaurants and the pubs and whatever else, which was great.
Yeah, I think we need to get some scientific evidence backing that up, but certainly that's people's impression. But if that does stack up, then let's look at doing something similarly every year. If you look at that early part of summer around June, a lot of the events we have locally are perhaps later on in the summer. That would fill a gap, and I think it would help the local economy.
Yep. So let's stay with activity and things happening in Perth City Centre at this point in time. I think we're probably going to go into another phase, a bit of a repeat phase perhaps again with regards to activity around the City Hall. Your thoughts, or you got any personal views on where you think that should go, or what the best option would be?
I think one of the things that's very frustrating about this is we seem to have been debating the City Hall now for so many years without anything happening, and we keep hearing all these claims and counterclaims. What's now happening is the City Hall's gone back on the market. This really is time for those who say the City Hall should remain to put up or shut up. And if they think there is a viable business model to keep the City Hall open by putting in an indoor market or whatever commercial use it can be put to, they need to bring forward a viable business plan saying how that would work and how it would be funded. Personally, I'm sceptical as to whether or not that's going to work, and I think given that the length of time this has gone on, the sooner we can draw a line under this issue and move on, the better. And my personal preference at this stage would be to say, if we can't find a viable model, let's go ahead with this idea of creating a civic square. I actually think that would be to Perth's benefit.
Moving on to another subject, I know it's quite a personal hobby or topic for yourself, which is around the A9 and the investment and some of the changes to that. Certainly within the past few weeks there's been some fatalities and there's been issues because of crashes and things, and I think it even stopped traffic to certain events and things. They're talking about accelerating the investment to do some work on it, but we're still talking about a completion date of 2025, I think. Is that right? You've been heavily involved in this, and I know that it's one of your hobby horses. What's your thoughts around it?
Well, you're absolutely right, Gavin. We've had another horrendous summer of serious accidents on the A9. We had just a few weeks ago, over the space of actually a week, 2 double fatalities, and one of them was the weekend of the Rockness Festival up in Inverness. And of course, not only do you have the human tragedy of people losing their lives and the impact that has on their families and friends, but huge economic disruption where traffic's diverted on a 120-mile diversion through Fort William and up Loch Ness side. So that costs everybody as well. Now there's good news, because the Scottish Government said they'd found some money and we're going to bring forward the start date for some of the dualling works, and that's something that's welcome. But we're still looking at a completion date of 2025, which is seems 13 years.
Seems a lifetime.
13 years away, and nearly 20 years after the SNP government was elected with a pledge to get the dualling completed. So I'm saying to them, we need to keep the pressure on to try and bring forward that completion date, because the sad reality is every year that goes by without a full dual carriageway, you're going to see more and more people killed.
Realistically, do you think there's an opportunity that it can be accelerated by any reasonable means? I think
any major infrastructure project requires a lot of planning. The hoops you've got to go through now devising any new road in terms of planning and consultation and environmental studies means that you can't just say let's build it and expect it to be done within a year. There'll always be a lag time. But I still think 13 years is too long, and it could be brought forward if the political will was there.
Moving on, there's been quite a lot of coverage in the press recently on a certain subject where it would appear the Scottish Government are dragging their heels a little bit. And interestingly, I was just watching something on television just recently as well, which was about a chap, and he was introducing his adopted son, and it actually so happens he's in a same-sex marriage. There's been quite a bit of press that the Scottish Government are dragging their heels a little bit on that. What's your thoughts around this?
This is a hugely emotive and controversial issue. I mean, I probably get more letters on this subject than I do on any other. And it's a very divided subject. There are people on one side of the argument who feel very strongly this is an issue about equality, and gay couples should have exactly the same rights as others to get married. And on the other side of the divide, you have a very strong lobby from people, very often from a faith background, who feel this is a step too far and is devaluing marriage. And I think the essential problem we've got to now with what the Scottish Government are trying to do is, I think they in principle want to move in the direction of legalising same-sex marriage. The problem they've got is the way current equalities legislation is drawn. If they made that change, it would mean that, or could mean at least, that churches or other faith groups such as mosques who refuse to carry out same-sex marriages could actually face legal action and could be forced to go down that road. Right. And like a lot of these issues, it's one of these things that on the surface seems fairly straightforward. You're either for this or you're against it. But the more you probe into it, the more difficult it actually becomes, and the greater are the unforeseen consequences. So what the Scottish Government have said is they're actually going to stop and pause and do a little bit more work on how this might be brought forward. And we'll just see, I think, in a few weeks, see what the proposals are. Yeah.
So moving back to Perthshire, the Black Watch. A few changes there recently. There was a bit of issue potentially that they were actually going to lose their regimentary status. Is that right? How did that all work out in the end?
Well, the background to this is that the Ministry of Defence, as part of the wider sort of budget process of the UK government, is looking to shed 20,000 soldiers from the army, which is roughly 20% of the current contingent. And inevitably, people were looking at all the Scottish regiments, saying whether they would face a threat, and also there was talk about losing the distinct identity of the Black Watch, who although they're now part of the Royal Regiment of Scotland, they retain their distinct name and their distinct cap badge and the red hackle.
And a lot of investment going on locally at Balhousie Castle with the Black Watch Museum as well.
Indeed, and a very exciting project at the Black Watch Museum, but that is now detached from the army, because that's all been set off set up in a separate trust. And there's a lot of concern that these cuts in the army would impact on the Black Watch. I'm delighted that's now not going to happen. We made very strong representation to the Prime Minister and to the UK government, and they've listened to that, and the Black Watch will be preserved. The regiment will not face a cut, and they will retain their regimental traditions and badges. And that's great news for Perth and great news for this area.
But still challenges for them as a regiment, I think, around recruitment and things like that. Is that right?
Yeah, there are big challenges for all the Scottish regiments. The Scottish regiments are the most poorly recruited of any part of the British Army. And of course, when the announcement was made about the Black Watch, of course there were people, politicians from England, standing up complaining that Scotland had been treated unfairly, and treated too well compared to their own areas. Because if you were looking at it objectively, saying we should cut the areas which are most poorly recruited, it would be the Scottish regiments you would cut. So I think there are issues there. If you'd been and seen the Black Watch homecoming parade in Perth in June, it was very noticeable to people watching that there are some fairly sizable chunk of the Black Watch rank and file who are not local Scots. A lot of them are recruited from the places like Fiji and Tonga and elsewhere. And I think that, if we are to be seeing the Black Watch being preserved in the long run, we've got to see more locals signing up, and I think that's quite an important message.
Yeah. So the rest of the summer for you, Lots of events happening in and around Perthshire. Fingers crossed that the rain stays off and we don't have any more cancellations.
Well, let's hope so, yes.
Yourself, any holidays planned?
We've had a short holiday. We were away last week in Northumberland with the family. Unfortunately, the weather wasn't much better than it is in Perthshire. So we're here for the rest of the summer, out and about, and trying to take in as many local events as we can.
And I heard today that apparently people are talking about an Indian summer and it's going to be a heat wave in September, but I think maybe that's wishful thinking.
We hear that every year. Every year we have a wet summer and they say, don't worry, it'll be lovely in September. Is it? We'll wait and see.
We'll wait and see. We'll hold our breath. Murdo, thanks a lot for your time again today.
It's a pleasure.
Fairways provide cost-effective HR support, from contracts to recruitment, health and safety to training. Fairways, working with you, for you. Visit fairways-uk.com or call Perth 632 561 for a free consultation.
I did it Fairways.
So congratulations to the Famous Grouse. Moving on to more local business and community matters, we're now about to pick up with Wendy Forsythe. And our reporter Stephen Clark has a chat with Wendy in the studio. Wendy Forsythe runs a very well known and very busy ladies' gym in Perth called Curves. So she popped into the studio just to talk a little bit about Curves as a business and to talk about general health and fitness. We also have a chat with Lorna Tunstall. Now, we hadn't spoken to or met with Lorna until recently, and Lorna's one of the committee management team for the soon-to-be Carse of Gowrie family fun day, and that's actually going to be held down at Earl Airfield in a week on Saturday's time. So Lorna popped into the studio just to give us a little bit of a background of the successful and very innovative family day that's going to take.
So I'm joined today with Wendy from Curves. Now Wendy, everyone knows that I'm into my fitness and I love anything that gets people active and gets them using their bodies. And I've heard a little bit about Curves, but I know it is a little bit different for some reason. Can you tell me more about it?
Yeah, certainly. It's especially for women. Curves is the world's largest franchise for fitness. It's got 10,000 locations worldwide, and in Perth we're delighted to have Curve Smart as well as Curve Circuit with Zumba.
Okay.
But the basics is it's a circuit with machines for strength training, and it's a 30-minute complete body workout, especially for women.
Especially for women,
Yeah.
So I can't go.
I'm afraid not, Steve.
So disappointed. So it's circuit based then.
Yeah.
Now, if anyone doesn't know what a circuit is, it's just exercise after exercise, and you generally change the body group or the muscle group that you're working.
Yeah. So when you come in, you join the circuit at any point, either on a machine or a rest station, where you just march in spot to keep your heart rate from dropping.
Okay.
You're 30 seconds on a machine. You would be starting off with perhaps your upper body, and then 30 seconds off, and then you'd be 30 seconds on your lower body.
Okay.
So it's a complete body workout in just 30 minutes. You keep going round the circle of machines. There's a CD cue along with music that tells you to change stations now.
Okay.
So you know when to move
on.
And we finish off with some stretches, and it's all done and dusted in just 30 minutes.
So this is a 30-minute workout,
That's
so
right.
anybody with a busy schedule can come along, 30-minute workout, and then get on with their day.
That's right.
That sounds great. And if anybody's never done any sort of exercise before, is it suited to all levels?
Yep, absolutely. We recommend, I mean, we can have children from 12-year-old come along with
All
their
right.
mothers. We have an add-on package, it's called. Our oldest member's 83, so
Wow.
it's for all age groups.
Now that's impressive.
Yeah.
That is impressive. I quite like that.
So it really is catering for all women across the board. Any fitness levels, because the machines are hydraulic resistance, you can take it at your own speed. The faster you move the machines, the heavier the resistance becomes. So
Okay.
because they're hydraulic, you don't need to make any adjustments.
So it literally does adapt and change to your own fitness level.
Absolutely.
So not that I can go, but if I did go, I'd be obviously a little bit stronger than some females.
Yeah.
And it would just automatically adapt.
Yeah. We could let you have a shot on the machines.
I think I'd like to.
But it does. There's one especially that draws you in at the waist, so it's designed especially for the women's physique. So it's maybe not exactly.
I don't know. I guess there's a couple of guys that like smaller waists out there. But I guess that's a selling point, because there is a lot of females who feel self-conscious being in a mixed gym. So that's actually quite a good selling point for your female clients. You know, that there is no males there apart from me and some couple of days maybe get me in there.
Well, we could maybe get you in there, but we do have events. So I mean, it's more than just a gym. It's a community of support, because we have fun events. So we do occasionally at Valentine's Day, for example, have sweating with your sweetheart. So you can actually bring in your partner, husband, anybody like that, make a donation to charity, because we also do a lot of fundraising in the community. Last year we raised £7,000 for breast cancer care.
Wow.
So
that's really good.
That's what happens when you got a lot of women together. Yeah.
You know what women are like when they get together. Conquer the world.
Yes.
So where is the gym?
It's at Highland House at the retail park.
That's at St Catherine's Retail Park.
That's right, yeah.
Right, okay, I know where that is.
So our windows face home base, and we're the curvy building on the corner. We've got a security door down the stair to keep the men out. So you can ring the buzzer marked Curves and we would let you on up. We're on the first floor.
And when are you open?
We're open Monday to Friday, pretty much 8 in the morning till 7:30 in the evening, and we're open on a Saturday morning.
Right.
We have 3 classes of Curve circuit, including Zumba, where it slightly changes. So we've introduced the Zumba fitness as well. So you're 1 minute on the machine, but at 50% strength, and 1 minute Zumba in between.
Oh wow!
So that happens 3 times a week.
So when you say in between, usually what the rest station, when they're kind of just marching on the spot, they'll do some Zumba instead.
Yes.
Now that sounds like fun, and I do not want a shot of that. I have no coordination at all. That sounds like a good change to the programme. Yeah,
well, it just spices it up a bit, because as you know, the hardest thing to keep going is the motivation.
Yeah.
So if we're expecting people to come 3 times a week, if they can come once for a normal workout, once for their Zumba workout, then the other one's easy.
Yeah, definitely, and it keeps it different as well, doesn't it? Because one of the main motivating factors is that people enjoy it.
Yeah.
You know, if you hate every session that you go for, then you're not going to maintain it for very long. So it sounds like you definitely kind of cover that base.
Exactly.
By changing it around a little bit.
We've also got Curve Smart, which is the most advanced fitness technology in the world, a little key tag that's programmed personally for you, and you dip it into each machine as you're going round your workout, and it's collating all the information so that at the end it tells you how many calories you've just burned.
Oh right, so it actually gathers all your data specifically.
Yeah. So your program, the first time you take it for a whirl, you program in the information of how long your arms are, how strong you can go, how fast you can go. And at the end of the workout, it's proven that we can burn up to 500 calories in just 30 minutes.
That sounds great. So actually people know exactly what they're doing when they go. And I guess it's some way of going and trying to beat your last record.
That's exactly it.
Again, what some females are like, they always like to kind of better themselves, and you can challenge each other, I guess, couldn't you?
Yeah. You can see, if you're getting stronger on certain machines, what machines you need to work harder on. So it's great.
Wow. So if there's anybody out there looking to come along and want to start some sort of new fitness regime, how would they get in contact with you? Would they come along to Curves itself, or can they contact you?
They would come along to Curves. They could call on our free phone number, our landline, just pop in. We would give them a free tour and fitness assessment, and then explain our programmes. We would set some exciting goals and show them how they can attain those goals. Let them have a feel of the machines, and then it would be up to them whether they decide to become a member.
Yeah, and you recommend coming 3 times per week when you do join?
Yeah, 3 times a week gets you results.
Okay,
so we have the diet as well, which is a weight management programme, as well as the exercise and the motivation.
It comes all hand in hand with each other. That sounds really good. Well, if there is anybody out there that's wanting to start something new and getting in shape, then get in contact with Wendy and she can whip you in shape.
Great.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Well, I'm delighted today that I'm joined in the studio by Lorna Tunstall, and Lorna is actually one of the organising committee of the Carse of Gowrie Family Fun Day, which is happening a week on Saturday. Lorna, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
We wanted to invite you on today just to give us a little bit of a background, because there seems a real rah-rah-rah about this. It seems like you've got a big event, a big family activity day. So tell us a little bit about the background and what's all happening.
Well, originally, Gavin, a few of us just got together and we were looking to raise some money for charity. We didn't just want to do the usual small fry event. We wanted to do something big, and we wanted to do something that would involve a lot of the local communities.
Yeah.
So we decided on doing a family fun day, and again, we wanted something that would actually be truly for the family. You see family fun day a lot of times, but we wanted something that would involve the dads, the young kids, the mums, everything.
So there's sort of a call to action for everybody to get involved.
Exactly,
Yeah, great.
exactly. So that's really how it all started. And the main thrust of the day is going to be a bulk of activities, a huge It's a Knockout tournament for all ages, football tournaments with SFA coaches. There'll be funfair rides, a real carnival atmosphere. But then at 4 o'clock, the day will slightly change. The emphasis will then be on local bands that we've got coming to the event, and it will turn into a sort of what we're calling our folk festival. So there'll be something for the teenagers as well.
Great. And the charities that are benefiting from the event, Lorna, is that Ship Splash, Maggie's and the Institute Church Development Fund.
Yes, so they're the three charities that we picked. Again, you know, we wanted to share the love and make sure as many charities benefited as possible from this.
So tell me, it's a week on Saturday, which is Saturday the 25th, is that right? What time do the gates open at?
Gates open at 10:30. Activities really start from about 11 o'clock onwards, and it'll go on until about 9:30 in the evening.
And whereabouts is it?
It's at Errol Airfield. People will probably know where the car boot sale is, so it's just on the same site where the car boot sale is.
So you can always fly a helicopter in if you're
certainly
really keen to get there from far afield.
Certainly can.
Listen, Lorna, it sounds a great event. Good luck with it all. I know you're anticipating how many people are you going to hoping that's going to be there?
Well, it's obviously weather dependent, but we really are expecting crowds of about 5,000 plus.
Fantastic. Well, we're going to be there on the day as well, weather permitting. Great. So we're looking forward to seeing you there, and thanks a lot for your time today.
Thank you.
Well, we've been invited here to Bertie Brown's, this beautiful Aladdin's Cave in South Street by Jane Atkinson. I think we all remember the controversy over the colour of the pink shop, so come and follow me. Hi Jane, it's lovely to be here. This is fantastic. What a beautiful shop.
Thank you.
As I was saying outside, this is a real Aladdin's Cave. How would you describe your shop?
We describe this shop as a jewellery and gift boutique, but it's kind of a one-stop shop for anybody that wants to get a special gift, something that they won't find anywhere else. We've got the jewellery, the gifts for various different occasions, cars and gift wraps, so you can do it all in one shop.
You can do it all, and it's also colourful. I mean,
Yes,
these are absolutely beautiful. Tell me about these.
These are genuine leather satchels. They're really retro. You probably remember, you probably had one like this when you were at school yourself.
I think I did.
But they've brought them out in really kind of bright neon colours, really, really high fashion, really good leather. They're not cheap, they're about £100, but they're made in Britain and they're extremely good quality. They're the kind of thing that the more you use them, the better they're going to look.
And all the students will be after
really,
these.
really popular with universities going back and schools going back just now.
Now, all the cards are over this side of the shop, as you said, and there's some very unusual little gifts as well.
Yeah.
I had quite a lovely time kind of rummaging around it all. So that's fabulous. And now we're going over to the jewellery over here. Tell us about the different jewellery you have.
We stock quite a few brands that will be well known to people. Nomination is an Italian charm bracelet, which is extremely popular. You buy the standard bracelet and then add the charms as and when you want. And we have Pandora up at the far end of the shop, which is hugely popular. Probably it's the biggest selling jewellery brand in the whole of the UK, and has been for about 3 or 4 years now. So it still does extremely, extremely well for us.
It's still very popular, isn't it?
Yes.
Very. Now, you were telling me about the latest thing, though.
Yes, the latest thing is Globo, which is a really, really cool. It's just a young girl, British girl, who's designed this through her holidays in Thailand and what have you. It's all solid sterling silver. I'm wearing some today. And they're solid silver bracelets in different sizes. The prices range from £50 up to about £200 or £300, depending how big the piece is. And the idea is that you start, I mean, you can wear one by itself, but you can start quite a few together, or with other bracelets that aren't global. Really good fun and sort of all
very
ages.
Popular with celebrities.
Very popular with celebrities. Kelly Rowland, Elle Macpherson, Colleen Rooney, Cheryl Cole. They've all been seen, spotted wearing them.
So fabulous gifts.
Good for 18th, 21st gifts. Been very popular for that as well. So
very good. Well, I've thoroughly had a great time just, rummaging around, as I said earlier. Now, how has business been for you, though, Jane? Because we have, really faced a recession. Has it been tough for you?
It has been tough, yeah. It's very tough. Perth itself, I think, has really taken a big knock. In general, the last couple of years has been tough. We've got our online website now as well, which is kind of making up the difference. But if we hadn't had that, it would have been, really, really tough. I think Perth is really losing out, I think, to Dundee, who's really regenerating itself. We've got the waterfront development, you've got Malmaison going in there, the Overgate Centre. They've really, really G'd up Dundee quite a bit, and with it being so close, I think we are losing out to that quite a bit.
I feel very passionately about supporting our local retailers, because I think if we don't, then we're going to lose.
And Perth's such a lovely. We used to always have people travelling to Perth for weekend, like girls, shopping trips, and we just don't get that anymore because Perth just doesn't have the offering enough to offer people.
What do you think would help?
I think the decision on the City Hall has been wrong, in my opinion. I think it should have been, the decision should have been to knock it down and to create a lovely big open area which could be used for events, festivals, markets, which would really draw people into Perth city centre.
Because Perth does have a lot of these independent shops like yourself, and so it does make it different from places like Dundee.
We're never going to be able to compete with those cities with multiple big brand chains. We're never going to do that. But what we can do is get independents like myself that really draw people to Perth. That's what makes us different.
Now, you were saying something to me earlier, which I thought was really interesting. That we've had Rewind. Now that brings a lot of people into Perth, and there's tea in the park as well. But you feel it doesn't necessarily help the retailers.
It's a great thing to have. It's great for Perthshire as a whole, tea in the park and Rewind. But it just completely, the whole city centre is dead for the whole weekend, both those weekends. It kills retail for those 2 weekends. So it's got its good and its bad points, but for retail it's
hard going.
It's very hard going.
Well, thank you very much for having us. It's been really enjoyable, and we've all got to support our local small independent shops.
Definitely.
It really is.
We don't want to lose them.
We were saying about the pink outside, the controversy. Is that all died a death?
It has all died a death, I'm happy to say.
That's
and
good.
Thanks to all our loyal customers that really helped support us through that as well. So,
that's great.
But yes, Bertie Brents will be staying pink.
Thank you so much for being on Perthshire Online TV.
You're very welcome.
Thank you, Jane.
Okay, thank you.
Well, this is Gavin Syme from Perthshire Online TV, and that's another show in the bag for this week. Please tune in again next week. We want to hear from you. info@perthshireonline.co.uk is the email address. You can follow us on Facebook and on Twitter. And also, remember our new Peel to Save card initiative with Peel to Save Perth. It's a great initiative. Buy a card, get discounts from local businesses, and it supports local organisations as well. The one that we're aligned with this month is the 74th Perthshire Scout organisation. So, from Gavin Syme on Perthshire and Perthshire Online TV team, we'll see you next week.